right, take a look at the best record since June 23rd. The Red Sox have only lost 4 times during that time frame. That, of course, includes a 15-game winning streak, which was just snapped. They're now 2 games ahead of the Mariners for the final AL wildcard spot. Front office insights are presented by Sage. Red Sox Chief Baseball Officer joins us now, Craig Breslow. Craig, welcome in. Steve Phillips, Yonder Alonso, John Heyman. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you guys doing?
Doing great, doing great. So listen, I get that be the one that has the fun question. You won 15 games in a row. It's a lot easier doing interviews when you've won 15 games in a row than losing that many. But what has it felt like with this turnaround for this team?
Yeah, it's been obviously great to watch, just to see the enthusiasm and excitement of the fans. The way that we've started to play recently at Fenway, bringing them to life, and really happy for the players, for the coaches, for Chad Tracy, the manager. Just given it's been a turbulent season, and the fact that these guys have grown together and are playing for each other now in a way that's getting results has been really great.
Craig, Yonder Alonso here. Alex Spire reported that on June 22nd, after Aroldis Chapman blew a save against the Rockies, Chad Tracy sent out a text to the team in the middle of the night saying, "I'm not going to turn on you. I know what you're going through. I've been here. All these losses, we're doing it together. And when we're going to find a way to win together, when you guys are rolling in the beep, we're rolling in it with you. And then when we get all our flowers, we're gonna be there with you as well." Did you receive that text message as well? And what was kind of that vibe right after that?
Yeah, no, so that went to the players, and I think what that illustrates is exactly why Chad was the right guy to step into this situation. He's got tons of relationships with a bunch of the players that have come up through the system, and then also has this ability to connect with veteran players in a way that's sincere and authentic, and really instills a ton of confidence in them. And we've seen that really take hold over the last month or so.
Hey, Craig, John Heyman here. Congratulations on your amazing turnaround, 15 in a row. You're now in playoff position. You have a terrific starting rotation. So I've got to ask you, I know we have 9 days to go before the deadline, but at this point, the conversations you're having would be having you as a buyer, not a seller, right? Because we were speculating forever about trading Chapman and Gray and whatever. It appears you are a buyer at this point, right? Or at least leaning that way.
Well, we've certainly taken notice of the play on the field, and coming into the season, we had a ton of confidence and belief in the players that we had brought together, and recognized that it took some time for them to get rolling. But our hope and our expectation was always to be in a position where we're staring down a postseason run, and we're trying to build the best team that we possibly can. So I think we're in the same position as most other teams are right now, given that there's still 9 or 10 days between now and the deadline, and that we're kind of getting ourselves organized and looking for opportunities.
And so you've got Garrett Crochet and Roman Anthony that are injured. No real time frame specifically yet on when they're going to come back. So what are your needs for your team right now? As you look at it, where would you like to supplement, or where could you be better? And how do you balance that with those 2 guys, the potential of when they could potentially come back?
Sure. I'm always reluctant to get into specifics, because so much of what happens at the deadline is kind of a product of what's available, and what other teams are willing to act upon. We're trying to take stock of where our own guys are, those that are on the field right now, and also the guys that are coming back from injuries, the momentum that we've built, because I think how you get to this point is really, really important. And then we've got to try to look forward and kind of predict who we're going to be coming out of this. So every team is in touch with every other team at this point, and you're kind of just trying to check in and understand which players might be available, and where they might provide upgrades, both for the rest of this season and potentially beyond.
I want to ask you how hard it is to make a decision like that, because sometimes the biggest and the best move is not making any moves because of the way you guys have been playing, right? You don't want to add guys into a clubhouse right now that's really vibing. And for me, is it kind of that way for you right now? Or is it, hey, we've got to do all due diligence here and check every box and make sure that if we can add and get better, might as well do it?
I think it's both. And I think it's really important to maintain very open communication with Trace, with the coaches, to understand some of the things that we can't capture from our seats in the front office, right? There's no question that the players have come together. There's a belief and confidence that they have in each other, and that has to be a consideration. It has to be a factor, because I think to ignore that potentially puts us on a path to making a mistake.
Now, the moves that you did make in the winter have turned out very good generally. Sonny Gray's been great, should have been an all-star. Wilson Contreras has been great. I'm going to ask you about him in a little while. But even that Milwaukee trade has really turned around. I've never seen a trade where it looked so bad for the first few months has now looked good, because you got three guys who are actually helping you. But let me ask you about Wilson Contreras, one of the guys that you did bring in. He seems to be having his best year at the plate, but he also brings a lot of energy. How do you look at him in terms of his energy, enthusiasm, and his feistiness, frankly?
Yeah, so I was with Wilson in Chicago and was very aware of the competitive fire and the passion that he plays with, and it's not surprising he's carried that with him, and it's not surprising that Red Sox fans have fallen in love with him, because he's never going to give up an at bat. He's never going to give up an opportunity to compete, and those around him are elevated by that. He's not going to let anyone else take a pitch or an at bat off either. And when you couple that with the performance on the field, and he's having, arguably the best season of his career, I think you just have to give him so much credit. And he's really become beloved here. And I think he loves the role that he's playing for our team.
All right, Craig, I'm going to give you the toughest question of them all. All right. And it has nothing to do with your team. But I saw the documentary on the Boston Red Sox a few years ago. How is your son's swing doing? How's he pitching? And are you scouting him potentially for a draft?
So I've got twin boys and a daughter. I've got a left-handed pitching son and then a right-handed hitting catching son. So if they can kind of develop, we'll get them on all of the training and programming that we would prescribe to our guys here and see where they are in a few years.
I love it. I wanted him to soften you up, because I wanted to ask you again, when you call other teams and you're finding out who's available, what positions particularly are you asking about what players could be available? Are you looking at bullpen help? Are you looking at a right-handed bat, left-handed bat? Like, what are you, sure, it comes down to who's available, but what positions are you hoping are available?
Sure. Well, I guess starting with pitching, our pitching has carried a bulk of the weight for most of the season. We need to be mindful of the workload demands that we're putting on some of our younger guys, but also hope that we can balance that out with guys getting healthy. But I don't think there's anyone who would sit in this seat and try to make a deep postseason run and say that they wouldn't explore opportunities to upgrade the bullpen, especially because the bullpen is so important in the postseason. And then I think when you look at our position player group, there's no secret that we've struggled to score runs at times. And, recently I think we've seen some signs of life in the approach and the damage that we're able to do, and players deserve a ton of credit for that, and our coaching staff deserves a ton of credit for that. But I think our position player group has a ton of flexibility, because a bunch of our infielders can move around the diamond, a bunch of our corner outfielders are capable of playing center field, and so if we look to upgrade offensively, I don't think we have to pinpoint a particular position in order to make that improvement.
Yeah, interesting. All right, Craig, listen, thanks so much for giving us time. Really do appreciate it. Best of luck. Get a new streak started right now. Let's go.
Sounds great. Would love to start tonight.
All right. Thanks for joining us.